Well, there was 8 of us, and there was 3 of us girls and 5 boys. I was the youngest of 2 girls. I've got 2 sisters who was older than I was. And then 1 brother older. My other brothers is younger than I am. I was born in Madison County, and I lived in Madison County till me and Pa married. It's right funny. I lived in town over there, at Crawford, and he really come over there to see another girl, and he stopped at he told this boy, says, let's stop here at this house. Girl I want to see lives there. And I was the one that lived there, but he thought he was looking at seeing somebody else. Anyway, that was in May. First time I saw him was in May. Well, then he took a liking to me, and he come over and went right after graduation. And we had been going together, I guess, about a month. He asked me to marry him. And I said, well, we hadn't been going together long enough to get married. I thought he was crazy. And I put him off to August. We went together, started going together in May and married in August. And then I moved to Overthorpe County in 1935. And that's where I've been ever since, in Overthorpe County. We got married at his mother and father's home. And we went home, would you believe it, went home with a preacher that married us, spent the night. Well, the preacher that married us, they was going to a homecoming the next day, and they wanted us to go with them, so that's why we ended up spending the night with the preacher that married us. That was, well then, we didn't have air conditioning and all like that, And when me and Pa first married, we'd been married about about 5, 6 years before we had electricity. That's when people used lamps, kerosene lamps. I guess he was probably in his 40s. I'm just guessing when he went preaching. I'm not sure. It's after we moved here, after we built here. The first preaching he'd done was down at Santa Claus. If you remember, he had about brush arbors. They put up a big old brush arbor, and that was the first preaching that he did. And then he went from that to pastor the church. He went to a town in Madison County, and that's why he started preaching, pastoring churches. That was the first church. I believe Macedonia was the first church he pastored. And then Freedom, he pastored Macedonia Freedom, same 2 Sundays at one and 2 Sundays at the other one. And then he went from there down to Pentecost Chapel, yeah. And then he pastored Welcome Avenue 2 years. And then we went to Union Point, and they pastored down there 19 years. And that's why he retired preaching at Union Point. So we were down there for 19 years.
Let's all go down to the river. There's a man who's walking on the water.
Well, we enjoyed having baptisms. Then they baptized in lakes, And he enjoyed his preaching and the baptizing, yeah. Well, that was the best experience when all these kids was born, and you was with that, when they was at home, That was the best experience, raising your kids. Betty's oldest, Betty and then Cecil and Herman and Inez. Now there's about 6 years difference in the ages of Herman and Cecil. Then Inez come along. He was down at the pond fishing. He had developed a heart condition, which I believe he had it for years. And He took me to get groceries that morning. He got us some gas, gonna cut grass. He come back, he said, well, I'm going fishing a while you cook dinner. And he never did get back to the house. That was the worst part. I was the one that went down there and found him. That was about the worst experience. Oh yeah, used to, we had revivals and people's churches and people then, farmed. And we didn't think people then didn't think anything about working all day and then going to church at night, staying out there. And then easy for people to get saved then. I don't know, they just didn't have as much to worry them and money trouble. We just living in a different age and altogether entirely different from what back then, Yeah, people would get saved then. Now it's hard to get people to church and to save and all.